We love giving relationship advice.
Do we?
So we're going to do it again. I love it.
I actually do enjoy giving some good advice. I would like to say I'm quite wise, which is cringe to say out loud. I think I have a
Are you an alpha?
I think I have a decent perspective on things in life.
I would like to think that I'm good at giving advice. Not that great at taking it, but I'm good at giving it.
Aren't we all? All right, get in there.
All right, so we're going to give some relationship advice today from the Reddit subreddit r/relationship advice.
The Reddit subreddit on Reddit.
Just in case you didn't know, we're on the subreddit of relationship advice on Reddit.
Welcome to the show. My name is Nick.
And I'm Corey. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to watch the full uncut and uncensored version of this podcast, early access, you can go to our Patreon link down below.
And if you want to watch this or listen to it without
Our
us,
beautiful faces.
so not watch it, then check it out on Spotify, Amazon, Apple.
All those things are linked down below.
Yeah.
And if you guys like our commentary on stupid stuff, you're going to like our commentary on movies, which are also sometimes stupid, but sometimes not. That's on
Check
our
out
YouTube
our
channel, Nick and Corey,
Corey.
link down below. I screamed at my husband over his hobbies, and now he's changed, and I don't know how to fix this. Stop screaming at people. That's the easy
This
fix.
one's really sad.
Hey everyone, I need some advice about the situation with my husband. I'm 27F, he's 28M, and we've been married for 4 years. He has a room where he keeps all his hobbies: sim racing, aviation setups, soccer analysis tools, Lego sets,
This
music
guy's
production.
Probably autistic.
Just this guy has hobbies. He's got a hobby room.
Enthusiast.
Basically, it's his sanctuary. He's super analytical and loves writing down and dissecting things, from sports to politics. He's slightly on the spectrum and very introverted.
Yep.
So he doesn't have close friends. I'm really the only person he shares everything with.
Oh, that's really cute.
It's
cute,
it's
but also sad.
Sweet, cute, sad, squeet.
Squeak!
It's squeet.
It's squeak!
He's always inviting me to his space to be part of his interest. That's f***ing good. Green
That's
flag
adorable.
right there.
That is f***ing adorable.
I love him and appreciate that he wants to include me, but sometimes I just need sometimes myself. Recently, I snapped. I yelled at him, saying some hurtful things that I didn't mean, like how his interests bore me, that he needs to get a social life, and even questioned why I married him.
Oh
That's
my God.
That's not just sort of mean. That's
Dude.
brutal.
Yeah, questioning why you married someone and telling them that, it's okay to, I think it's perfectly fine. We have doubts about things. It's probably not great, but like, I think it's perfectly fine to ask yourself like, hey, why did I do this thing? And to think about it more. But to present it to someone else is really, really hurtful.
I don't know how you can salvage a relationship if you're the kind of person that just, when you're mildly angry, that they're asking to hang out with you, you say, I don't even know why I married you. That is nuclear.
Yeah, that is an awful thing, and that's really hard to come back from.
If a kid on Halloween asks for 2 pieces of candy, you slap them in the f***ing jaw. Like,
yeah, you f***ing fat bitch.
if someone like doesn't compliment you on a new haircut, do you punch them in the nose? Like,
Yes.
What? Why?
Did you notice my new haircut, Corey? You f***ing bitch.
This person needs anger management.
Yeah, that is gross.
Jesus Christ, this poor guy. I regret every word, but my anger got the best of me and I couldn't control in that moment. Since then, he's completely changed. He stopped spending time in his room, moved sleeping on the couch, and barely talks to me. He even ignored our usual tradition of watching our home nation's soccer team play, something he'd never skipped before.
That's
Instead,
really bad.
he was working on his laptop, breaking our no work at home rule. When I asked him about it, he said he didn't care about the game and mentioned that maybe he should be more like his father, who's workaholic and whom my husband idolizes. He even added, I don't blame him for divorcing at that age now. Oh, you've rewritten this man's past.
You've sparked a fucking trigger of hell that is probably going to ruin your fucking relationship.
Yeah. You remember Inside Out? This woman just destroyed single-handedly Friendship Island and Hobby Island.
Yeah. Yep. That's fucking bad. Is that all?
No. I apologized multiple times, but he just says it's okay, maybe you're right, and shuts down any attempts I make to talk about his interest. I'm terrified he's considering divorce. I know I messed up, but I don't know how to rebuild trust and help him feel valued and loved again. I don't want to lose him, but I'm unsure how to approach this and make amends. Any advice? You're worried about divorce, but you said, I don't know why I married you. Fix your
I mean, okay, ideally, a person who is an enthusiast in things, I understand she said he's probably on the spectrum and very introverted.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't have a ton of friends.
She said he doesn't have any close
So he
friendships.
shares most of the things with her.
Yeah.
Which is really sweet to have a supportive partner.
I understand it goes a little bit far sometimes where it's like they're annoying you with
But
their
it sounds like
interests.
he invites her to his like man cave and like Dude, if you belittle someone's interests that are not harmful, and he has Legos and other things that seem
This
like
is such a
really
good problem to have.
Yeah, these are like positive adult interests where you now have money and you can get things that you like.
Yeah. Oh no, my partner wants to include me in their interests too much. I don't know how to handle this besides just talking to them like a normal adult and saying, hey, I just want like an hour to myself at 6 p.m. on weekdays.
Wow, you did it. Not, hey, why are you asking me to do things that you like? Why did we get married? What? How do you salvage this though? Relationship advice?
Genuinely, I think that like unless this guy comes around and says that like he's okay with it and like can go back to normal, you up royally.
Okay, the real way to salvage this is that you need to remind the person that you love them for who they are with whatever like weird interests they have and how it's important that they have those things to continue keeping themselves happy and excited for life.
Yeah.
And that being a workaholic, while you might be obsessed with your work, if you make your life all about one thing, that thing will grow to destroy you because you're putting too many eggs in one basket and you're becoming overly reliant on one source that like, I don't know, I think you're just not giving the opportunity to live everything out of life that you could get out of it.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people never learn how to apologize. Genuinely.
Yeah. Some people can't say sorry.
There's 3 steps to a good apology that everyone needs to learn and no one does.
Okay, enlighten me.
First step, you must say you're sorry. The words must be I am sorry.
Yes.
Period.
Not I'm sorry you feel that way.
No,
that is a very non-apology.
I am sorry, period.
Yeah.
Give it a breath before you even say the next word because you should not have any excuse attached to it. It is I am sorry. The only exception to that is you can say I'm sorry and it helps to say specifically what you did, not an excuse for it. If you said hurtful things, say I'm sorry for snapping at you and saying those hurtful things.
I didn't mean it.
I don't even want to.
I would add that.
I don't even think that you should add any excuse to it. Just be like, I'm sorry.
I don't think that's an excuse.
I think the next step, you can probably throw that in, being like, I didn't mean it. But the next step after saying, I'm sorry for X action, own it. The second step is you must say that it will never happen again. You must tell them.
Never?
Yes. If you did, that's an apology. You can't apologize for something that you think is going to happen again. That's not an apology.
Never is a strong word.
Yeah. And if earn it.
Sorry that I pooped on
you
your
want
food.
trust?
I'm never gonna poop on your food again.
Yeah, trust is an always or never thing.
I really want to poop on your food.
How many times can you break trust before it's like, oh, I guess I'll just
Very
trust you
few.
again? Yeah, so never. If you did something bad and you actually regret it and you want to apologize, second step is say it will never happen again. It was a one-time mistake.
Yeah.
Don't say why. If they ask you why, you can tell them, but don't say it. Say it will never happen again. It was a one-time mistake. Third thing, you must tell them how things will change in terms of your punishment, consequences,
I will spank myself until it hurts no longer.
or a change of your actions. How do they know it's never going to happen again unless you tell them what you're going to do different? Don't be like, oh, I'm sorry for snapping at you and punching you in the eye. I'm not going to change anything about my behavior. It's just going I think it'll never happen again. And then it happens again.
An empty apology.
How will you make sure it never happens again? In this situation, I would say, as the girl who screamed, I would say, I am sorry I snapped at you and screamed those hurtful things. It will never happen again. I will make sure of it. How will I make sure of it? I'm going to go to anger management therapy. I will do the work to make sure.
Admitting it happened, reassuring the person that it won't happen again, and explaining a plan you have to fix this from
That is the
again.
3-step apology that everyone needs to learn.
fantastic.
No one does it. No one does it because it takes a lot of work for some reason.
Well, it's really hard
To admit you're wrong, yeah.
to crack our ego from ourselves because we're going from the inside of the ego.
No one wants to like be fully defeated and like deflated, but you need to. When you're apologizing, you need to be vulnerable and like kind of throw yourself at their feet because you f***ed up.
You did.
A lot of people want to do the like, I'm sorry, but you also did this.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I can understand if you've been doing tit for tat for a while, like it's become this vicious cycle of like they did this thing, so you did this thing, so they did this thing bigger, so you did this thing bigger, and it comes to that.
It sounds like she got triggered by like being invited to do something that she might not be interested in. And here, she needs to explain that.
Here's the fourth thing. It's an addendum. It doesn't always have to happen. It's optional. But after you say, I'm sorry, then you say it will never happen again. Then you create a plan as to how they know it will never happen again. The fourth optional thing is you then say, I acknowledged my apology. It is done. Like that is like cemented. Pause. By the way, it also hurts me that you do this thing. Can we talk about that?
You can also say, here's why this happened. Like,
I would try to make it sound like
trigger.
not. I would try to make it sound like not a tied thing. When you try to combine them, it's a little bit. It can come across a little bit defecting your apology. I think you need to own your apology in a vacuum, isolate it, and then also say, I'm owning my apology. There's nothing changed about that. It will still never happen again. But I also want to talk to you about this thing that bothers me, and let's have a conversation separate about that.
I mean, okay, so I think this is a very important thing to address too. I think it is really good for people, especially as they get older, to become enthusiasts about hobbies that are really important to them. And I think furthermore, beyond being enthusiasts in those hobbies, I think it's important for people to have communities through which they can share that hobby.
Ideally, a community in the hobby, yeah.
Sometimes your partner or your friend who you made through something random like high school or work or something might not be as interested as you are in that thing. It's not even might,
they won't.
No, they could be.
It's realistic that your partner will not overlap in everything you do.
Exactly.
It's so unlikely. And genuinely, I would think that most people that think that they overlap in everything, chances are one of the people in that relationship
is probably folding themselves.
I'm not going to say faking. That's not the wrong. It's the wrong word. But they're
just bending themselves to fit a mold.
They like their partner more than they like that activity. They're doing it to make them happy.
And I think that's okay to sometimes do, but you can't constantly do that. You shouldn't also force yourself to do something that you don't want to do.
If you don't want to do it, that's different than you're okay doing it and you don't naturally want to do it.
Yeah. I think it's okay to dabble. But for instance, I'm obsessed with pickleball. I don't expect the person I'm with to like pickleball as much as I do. If they do, my girlfriend likes pickleball. She enjoys playing it. I don't expect her to play with me super often, nor do I need her to, because I have a community of people I share that with. Same thing with her. She's obsessed with New Girl and ACOTAR. And she can share that with her close friends, and I don't have to intervene in that. But it's important to respect one another's interests, because like I think if you don't, you're just being
Exactly. I think that it's a good thing to have a separate community where you can talk about your interests with people that genuinely enjoy it of their own free will and accord. But as a partner, most of these things that you've mentioned that like you and your partner do, and most people will also do, you without them would never touch these things. You would never read ACOTAR without her.
Probably not, no.
It's like you could replace her with another person that maybe you would have dated that also would have done that, but I'm not even talking about that. Like you of your own interest.
Probably not.
I would say in like 100 years never would have read that book. But because someone important to you said that they liked it and also wanted to share it with you, now you have a vested interest in wanting to do that thing, not because you like that thing, but because you're neutral towards it, but you like your partner.
Yeah.
And that's totally normal.
Truth.
Everyone should do that with their partner. And you should do it back to them where you share what you're interested in.
Yeah.
And they should also want to do it. I think it's weird, I would say, that someone is so turned off by an activity that they refuse to do it.
I mean, you could just have like your girlfriend
it's totally
can be
normal.
super into painting nails and you just don't give a about it.
And I think it's
you
okay.
You can appreciate it, but that doesn't mean you have to take part in the activity.
No, you can talk about it, but like to be like, I'm a man, painting nails is for women, I will never even want to be near you doing it. Like that's weird.
Yeah, it is.
I think there are obviously things that you don't want to do because it makes you uncomfortable. So for instance, let's say your partner is like a skydiving enthusiast and you're like, I have a fear of heights. I'm sorry, I just can't do that. I'll talk to you about it. Maybe like I can listen to you tell me about the time you went, or if I can get over it, I can watch a video of you took when you went, but I just can't do that thing.
Yeah.
That's normal. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're neutral to something like painting nails, like why the would you be against painting nails?
Because it's fucking terrible, Corey. You're displaying art in your hands. How could you be a beta male and do that?
It's one thing, I think, to be like, hey, we can paint nails, but then like I'm taking it off after because I don't want to go out in public looking like this. It just makes me feel self-conscious. That's a valid thing to say. But you can keep it in the house and do it, or just talk about it, or like talk to her while she's painting her nails. Or hell, you could offer to paint her nails for her so it doesn't affect your life.
You're probably going to be terrible and shouldn't do that.
Well, they could always just take it off after. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's things.
I think
find things to do together.
There's a reasonable degree in which you should partake an interest in somebody's hobbies, and that's you can do it to a certain sacrifice of yourself and to a certain sacrifice of them. But just be mindful. If the person is a big enthusiast of these hobbies, respect them.
I would say the far extreme opposite of this that we were talking about is if someone is enthusiastic about something, don't fucking on it. Why would you do that? Why would you make them feel bad about liking something?
Yeah, especially if it's not okay. If they like something that they shouldn't like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. But if they like something like Legos,
I mean, obviously, yeah. If you're gonna like something illegal, like that don't interact with that. But like, how many things can you genuinely say you like doing? Like want to do on a daily basis is probably less than 10 things.
Yeah.
So if somebody important to you hits on those things, now your life is sad.
Yeah. Don't be with someone that on the things you love. Like for instance, if you love gaming and the person you're with thinks gaming is for babies and like just disrespects the of it, and you don't game a ridiculous. Okay, if you game 40 hours a week, that's a problem.
Everything in moderation.
10 hours a week.
Everything in moderation.
That's not that bad. You just have a hobby that you like doing. This is your escape.
Everybody should be respectful of their partner. And as long as the thing you're doing isn't to detriment, gaming can be just as bad for you as sports.
Yeah.
To the nth degree.
Yeah, sports can break your body apart.
And if you're playing sports 40 hours a week and you don't have time for anything else, like that's the same as gaming all the time.
Yeah.
If you spend time like you cut out of work to go and like play a midday league of whatever sport you're doing, that's just as bad of an addiction as gaming is. Like they're both.
I would say when I'm addicted to sports, I'm a much happier person than gaming.
I mean, maybe it's a healthier activity, but in terms of it is
time consumption,
affecting other parts of your life, it's bad.
I've had multiple people that I play pickleball with that said they had to cut back on pickleball for the sake of their significant other being like, "Hey, you spend no evening time with me."
And that's the thing. If it affects other parts of your life that you should be giving some time to, then yeah, it is an addiction that you should cut back on. But if you're gaming 5 to 10 hours a week, which is like how many hours do you have to yourself? That's a normal amount of time.
Yeah,
like that's fine.
That's chill. All right, let's move on to the next one. We've given a lot of advice to that one.
My boyfriend's ex spent the night in my bed with my boyfriend, but he recorded it to show me nothing happened. How do we overcome this? That's fucking weird.
That is bizarre.
That's so weird. I'm extremely hurt to my boyfriend's credit. He was very upfront about everything. He texted me immediately the morning after to tell me everything. Okay. My boyfriend, let's call him James, broke up with his ex-girlfriend, Winnie the Pooh, about 2 years ago. They chose to stay friends, and that this has caused some issues between James and I, mostly because Winnie just can't get over the breakup.
That sucks.
She thinks her and James are soulmates, and she just refuses to accept that he stopped being in love with her. That's not a good breakup.
No.
He might think it's an amicable breakup and they're friends, but they're not friends. If you still have feelings for someone, you're not friends. That's weird.
Yeah, you can't be friends with someone who has one-sided feelings that strong.
Especially when their feelings are validated. It's like if you're just friends, like you've never been more, and one person has feelings.
You've dated.
No, I'm saying if you're just friends, you've never been anything, and one person develops feelings, which is normal, you can get over that.
Yeah.
If you once were dating and actually had a validation to those feelings, and then you broke up, and you still have feelings for the other person,
they're probably going to linger.
That's a sign that you don't view them as just a friend.
Yeah.
You need to fix that, whatever that is. So a conversation they will often have is James is literally spending hours going over the logic of why he broke up with her. This should not happen often at all.
That should not happen more than once.
That's weird.
A person who says they constantly need closure doesn't actually want closure. They want to deny it.
Or they want to have the upper hand. But this shouldn't be a routine activity to explain to someone why they broke up.
No. Move on.
Yeah, it's weird. He tries to reassure her since they're still friends and she's hurting, but I have witnessed some of these conversations and he's loving but firm. I suspect some of you will say there's still something going on there, but there really isn't. James is definitely over her. James and I moved in together just 2 weeks ago, and this has caused Winnie to be worse than ever. Like she relapsed with the depression and the crying fits. They're happening constantly again. I went back to my parents' place this weekend because I had to pack my car full of more of my things, and I spent Saturday night there. Winnie must have known this because Saturday night she showed up at our place crying, wailing the works. We have a doorbell camera, and I got a notification as soon as she walked in the door.
Hey, ring notification. Oh, just boyfriend's ex crying, coming over. I'm not home.
This is like clearly suspicious.
Normal? Fuck no.
No, this ex is like taking advantage of this relationship, and the guy's not putting a foot down over it. I didn't see it right away, but as soon as I saw it, I texted and called James and checked our indoor camera to see what was going on. This is where James messed up, and he admits that he messed up. He didn't text me the whole night while Winnie was there. I don't want to say like just jump to like ending the relationship. I would give the guy one chance, but like I would say you need to like end this, whatever this is.
That needs to end.
Like be firm and say we cannot continue to hang out if you are this obsessive. If you can figure not be a weirdo about a breakup, then we can continue. If you do continue, then we are done being friends. That is where I'd put my foot down. It's a weird thing to be like, oh, you have friends of the opposite sex. Not anymore. We're together.
Yeah.
That's weird and possessive.
But having a friend that's an ex who's obsessed with you?
If that person is actively interjecting into your relationship, that's weird. She is literally trying to figure out why they broke up so she can fix it and get back together. Yeah. And it hurts her to see you thrive. That's bad.
Yeah. That is not a healthy relationship.
No. So all I knew was that she showed up. I checked our indoor camera. We keep in the living room, but by the front door, and it was turned off. This is normal. We only turn it on when we're away from home, but I was extremely upset and distraught as I was imagining the worst. I trust James, but I didn't understand why he wouldn't answer my calls, and he admits it was horrible of him. I was ready to break up with him Sunday morning, but he texted me and immediately let me know that Winnie had come over. He said it sounds really bad, but she spent the night, but nothing happened, and she set up our indoor camera in the bedroom to prove it. I didn't want to...
filming paranormal activity, but it's just...
I think this is so many steps.
Activity?
James has done so many steps to cover himself.
When the easiest thing should just be like, hey, listen, you're my ex. You're being weird. We need distance. We clearly can't be friends because you're not over me. Huh?
This is where like the amount of effort you're spending to try and justify like taking care of her could have been put into putting your foot down and saying, you're clearly unwell by interacting with me now that I'm in another relationship. That you've gotten worse because we moved in together.
Don't explain this to your girlfriend. Explain this to your fucking
I'm saying
ex,
that.
who you should no longer be
you should be
to.
saying you're getting worse by seeing me with someone else. We're cut off.
Yeah.
Find time to heal. Separation will heal you. If not, it's not my problem anymore. I'm not going to take care of somebody.
Yeah.
Like that's you prioritizing somebody else's mental health over your partner's is a sign that you're being technically like a cheater or shitty person.
Yeah.
He said it sounds really bad, but she spent the night, nothing happened, set up the indoor camera. I didn't want to believe him, but I did watch the footage, and even though it shows both of them laying in bed, it's true that Winnie was just crying while James was consoling her. That's not consoling, that's cuddling. You fucking cheating piece of shit, James. James. There are some things that he did that bother me a lot. At some point, he kissed her forehead, and he hugged her and held her close several times. I'm honestly speechless at that.
Yeah?
You should have some words, not be speechless. But I understand he knew there was a camera on him the whole time, and he knew I would see him doing that, so I guess he doesn't see that as cheating. Just because he knew that you knew doesn't mean that it wasn't what it was.
Hey, look, I have evidence that what I did was not that bad, but I did let my ex spend a night with me in bed while you're away.
Her reasoning that it's not cheating is because he knew she would see it, therefore he thought it was okay.
I'm guessing this is it. Is there a tiny bit or is it done?
There's a little bit more. So basically, James is asking me for understanding and for forgiveness. I have the proof that nothing happened, but I'm still hurt. This is how I imagine us starting our life together. What are the healthy next steps for a relationship?
Very simple.
Ground rules, boundaries.
Very simple. While I don't think that this is a good, normal approach to a problem, sometimes it's necessary, and here it absolutely is, an ultimatum. The ultimatum is very simple. You need to stop being friends with your ex because she clearly does not understand the boundary that you are in a new relationship and that you are not with this person. You are with your new relationship, and you can't have those. You can't be cuddling your ex in bed and kissing her forehead and telling her everything's going to be okay.
No.
She can't need an explanation of why the relationship ended 15 times. That's not her wanting closure. That's her denying the truth and wanting any form of interaction. Yeah. Can I please have a little crumb of attention? That's what that is.
This girl is crossing the line. James has crossed the line by not doing anything about it. And now the poster is made to feel crazy because the guy was okay doing it on camera, therefore it's fine.
Yeah.
No, that. This guy needs a reality check. Honestly, I would say like have a strong conversation saying what you did is wrong. If you don't acknowledge that and cut this off in some way, we're breaking up.
The guy doesn't sound bad. He sounds like he's a pushover that's too nice.
He's a doormat, but he's like not bad isn't good.
It's not good.
Like you are allowing something bad to happen.
Yeah, you're enabling it.
It's almost just as bad. Like just because you aren't the one doing the active cheating doesn't mean that you're
actively preventing it.
Yeah, you're allowing to happen. Grow up.
Simple. Ultimatum stamp. End that previous ex relationship.
Yeah, he shouldn't have let it get this far to begin with.
Move on. Next.
My husband accused me of murder out of the blue. How do I salvage this? That's weird. This is long and ridiculous. Sorry, my 30F husband, Luke 30M, had a sister, Laura 29F. We were all close and saw each other 2 to 3 times a month along with their parents. Almost 6 months ago, Laura fell down the stairs at their family home and died. It was a freak accident. There's a window on the half landing and she hit her head on the sill. God damn.
This is the whole...
Fell down the stairs, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, yeah. I was the last person to see her. I was there for less than 10 minutes when she was in pajamas and making coffee. I didn't even stay for a drink, and I struggled with how such a brief and meaningless interaction could have been her last. She deserves so much more. My husband and I have only been married for a year, but we've been together for 4 and have known each other for 20 plus. When Laura's parents found her, they called my husband straight away, and we rushed over. We faced the whole thing as a family. In the days after, Luke started quizzing me. Exactly what we talked about, what she was wearing, where we were standing, etc. It progressed to saying I was providing conflicting information on tiny details he was deliberately misunderstanding and accusing me of withholding information because I couldn't tell him things like what pajamas she was wearing. This escalated quickly but lasted for less than a week as I lost my cool and made it clear that I was done answering questions. He didn't bring it up again and I wrote it off as a grief quirk. His behavior was generally that of a normal grieving person. I don't like this detective man. Last Friday.
Let's get into it, Robin.
Last Friday, he outright accused me of murdering her in front of his parents. Out of the blue, we were all stunned. This guy. There was an inquest.
I think that's when somebody tries to figure something out.
I don't know. There was an inquest which recently concluded, and there was never any doubt the verdict would be an accidental death. He said it was completely obvious, and he couldn't believe that no one else could see it. He claims I went through his phone and found his messages with Laura. I've absolutely no idea what his messages he's talking about. I've never looked at his phone. Wait, isn't that his sister?
Laura's his sister, yeah.
Saw messages on his phone with his sister?
I don't know, dude. This is weird.
Wincest? Where is this? Virginia? He's talking about I never looked at his phone. And I went over to confront her and things got out of hand and I pushed her down the stairs. By the end, he was shouting about going to the police and getting the inquest overturned and how I wasn't going to get away with it. Let me be clear. Laura and I had a great relationship. We all did. I have no idea where this is coming from other than these messages I haven't seen, and even then, I don't think there's anything I could ever see on someone's phone that would drive me to murder. He's been with his parents since this happened and will not talk to me at all. I've had some contact with his mom, but she's not being very communicative. The last I heard, she didn't know what the messages he was referring to either. I'm still completely stunned and I have no idea how to proceed. I've made a commitment to be there for him always, and I understand that grief can manifest in strange ways, but part of me feels like my love for him died the second he called me a murderer, and I don't know how I could possibly work through this. I also really don't want to be thought of in this way, and I have no idea if he has said anything to other people we know. I obviously haven't. A brain tumor or psychotic break has crossed my mind, and I suggested it to his mother, and she just said she'll talk to him. Other than the questions before, he hasn't been acting odd. Obviously, he's been grieving, but he seems sane and sensible other than this. I feel like I'm going mad. Does anyone have any advice at all? That's heavy.
I don't know what advice I could possibly have to somebody. I could see how this can completely destroy a relationship. I legit don't know what to tell her. I think being called a murderer, it's like...
It's too much.
The fact that he's calling her out for that undermines what he thinks of her.
Yeah.
So she automatically now sees that like, oh, he thinks of me as
It's how do you come back from that where the person that you're supposed to be closest friends with, trust, believe is the greatest person in the world that you want to spend your life with, suddenly they're a murderer and it's bad? You can't really come back from that unless they have an explanation as to why they've been acting so crazy as like to call you out as a murderer. Like she said, a psychotic break or a brain tumor.
Yeah.
But if like we've been friends for decades and I was suddenly like, oh, you touch kids. I know it in my heart. I don't have any proof, but like it's obvious. No one else.
For this analogy to work, there would have to be a kid in our vicinity that's been touched by someone and we don't know.
Completely like irrelevant to you. Yeah, like someone that lived like in a neighborhood adjacent to yours. It's so pulling at straws.
Yeah, it is. Like, what incentive? If this was like an ex-lover of some reason that was tied to the family, that would make more sense. But this is the guy's sister.
That's the weird part. It's like, what messages were they talking about?
What text could you have possibly sent that made
the message between the brother and sister?
What advice would you genuinely give this woman?
I would say you need to end it.
You think so?
You can't. This guy has shown zero remorse or like conflicting thoughts that she's a murderer. If he's gonna believe that his wife is a murderer and like murder his sister for whatever reason, conspiracy theories, yeah, you can't salvage that.
I don't know how you move on.
How do you have a loving continued relationship while this person still thinks you're a murderer? Like you can't just kind of blow over that. And like you can't like go to therapy and be like, all right, well, have you tried working through it? It's like a yes no check mark type thing. Legit, it's either they think you're a murderer or they don't. Like that's it. It's not like, oh, she snores when she sleeps. Have you tried sleeping in separate rooms?
Have you tried suffocating her with a pillow?
Have you tried listening to like earphones or like music when you sleep? There is nothing like that. There's no solutions. It's they think you're a murderer.
Yeah.
That is all.
I think their understanding and trust has been broken.
Yeah, for sure. End it all, burn it to the ground. Maybe actually do murder someone this time.
Her.
Him.
Yeah. Oh, you want proof that I'm a murderer? I'll kill you.
You want a murderer? I'll give you a murderer. I've always thought of that. If like you're going to jail for a crime you didn't commit, might as well commit one on the way out.
Jesus Christ.
If they're going to get you on something, why not?
You don't want your crime overturned 30 years later and be giving like
30 years is such a long time, dude.
Be given 500K as some type of like pittance.
Oh God. If I was going to jail for even like 2 years for something I didn't do, I would do everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
You're going to jail for 3 years for weed. Add murder. Add escaping. Add resisting arrest. Sure, why not? Throw it on there. All right. My girlfriend has given up on her career after I became a millionaire. How do I tell her this won't work out? That's tough.
Tricky.
Backstory, I met my girlfriend Kylie in a community college 7 years ago. We became really close friends and started dating 2 years later. At the same time, she wanted to be a nurse, which was great. She was really passionate about it, and I fully supported her. I ended up transferring to a 4-year university and earning my MBA. Kylie supported me emotionally the entire time throughout school, which I'm grateful for. Kylie's parents ended up cutting her off financially because of her spending habits. Okay. We can already see where this is going.
She grew up with deep pockets.
Oh, yeah. She ended up taking a year off to work to help with her bills. In the meantime, I invested all of my savings, time, and energy into a startup platform with my best friend in the automotive industry. Earlier this year, we were bought out for a life-changing amount of money. We were both kept on as consultants with a high-paying salary as well. Kylie had kept her job at the jewelry store this entire time. After the buyout, she told me she was handing in her 2 weeks. I offered to pay for her school and expenses. At first, she was excited to go back and earn her nursing degree. I ended up purchasing a condo for us to live in, big step up from our apartment, close to her school. Over the weekend, we were talking, and she threw out the fact that she wasn't sure about wanting to go back to school and that she could stay at home and be a wife. We're not married. I didn't say anything in the moment because I wasn't sure how to respond. Part of what attracted me to her in the first place was her ambition. It just doesn't sit right with me that she would quit her job and a career and goals after I came into money. Her shopping spending has also gone up. She's been looking at new cars. I could be overreacting, but something just doesn't seem right. I still love her and want it to work out, but I just don't like this new side of her I'm seeing.
This is tricky.
Is it a new side or an old side?
Yeah, I think she's probably always been this way, just didn't have the means to pursue it. And this is the same thing that people talk about where money doesn't change people, it reveals who they really are.
Yeah.
I think it's just...
You need to cut her off. Give her an allowance.
I don't think you necessarily want to cut her off right away because you do love her.
We'll cut her off from the money.
I wouldn't even cut her off from the money. I would just be like, listen, like we need to talk. I appreciated this thing about you that you liked, and I understand circumstances changed and I make like a ridiculous amount of money now, so we don't need to worry about money necessarily. But I still don't want you like living your life in an like completely...
I think people need to have very hard truth conversations with their partners.
They do.
And the thing is, people change over time. That's fine. But if the things that you loved about someone are the reason why you wanted to date them or married them in the first place, and they change those things, depending on how harsh you say them and gently you say them, I think it is valid to bring those up. You could argue that if he said one of the reasons he loved her was the ambitious side of her and passion he saw, and if she gave up on that because now she has the easy life, yeah, that's going to make him love her less. And I think he should bring that up.
And he's going to start to resent her.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse. So you do need to address this problem before it becomes worse.
Yeah.
Her wanting to change her career potentially because she doesn't have as much interest for it is okay, but you don't want to change from something to nothing.
I wouldn't
you don't
take
want to just
this.
give up because it's like, oh, I have a golden parachute now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's like the thing, like what she does that's important. It's the attitude of, oh, I got easy street now. I don't need to do anything and I'm going to spend his money.
Yeah, it's like the people that get into relationships and then they're like, oh, I can let myself go now because I no longer have a reason to look good.
And it's valid that your partner then wants to be like, hey, physically, I'm just less attracted to you now. That's how it works. If you don't take care of yourself, yes, you'll age and like just not be as young as you used to be, but you can still not look like a slob if you do something physical.
Yeah.
I think this is just an attitude thing. Like it's an ugly personality trait to me to be like, oh, all right, I don't have to work anymore. I'm just not going to do anything and be a stay-at-home partner.
Entitlement and victimization are the two ugliest personality traits someone could possibly have. No.
Yeah.
Just please no.
My husband knocked out my brother for calling me a whore.
Okay.
And my parents want me to choose what is the right choice.
Choose what? Who you're keeping in your life?
Dun, dun, dun. I wonder who's the right choice here.
Sacrifice your brother into a volcano.
As my title says, basically, this past weekend, me and my husband were over at my parents' house for a barbecue. The day was going great until it wasn't. Until my brother, for some reason, started to have a go at me, calling me names and belittling me. My husband pulled my brother aside and had a talk with him, and the insults stopped. An hour or so later, we were standing around talking with some friends and family members, and my brother came up to me and told me I'm a whore.
Okay.
Like Frank from It's Always Sunny. You whore.
Whore.
Just randomly, like, hey, can you pass the hot dog? Whore.
Yeah. You look like someone who handles hot dogs, you fucking whore.
It's just very random. Like, all right, geez. And then we're
whoreness.
We're starting with nuclear assaults today.
Your whoreness.
Your whoreness. His exact words were, you know you are a f***ing whore, right?
Okay.
Why?
That enlightens the situation a bit more. Now that you've said it so graciously.
You know, I was on his side at first, but the way he said that, I didn't like it.
The words were fine, but the delivery.
Yeah.
The delivery is DiGiorno.
He really could work on that one. He said it loud enough for almost everyone at the party to hear. All I saw was my husband next to me look at me. Then I felt a push to the side and my husband stepping in front of me. And the next thing was my brother out cold on the ground with blood on his face. All I hear is my mother yelling and my husband saying, "You don't talk to my wife like that. I warned you already."
Little bitch. He did pull him aside and gave him a word, a firm talking to.
What was that quote from Mike Tyson? The internet made people too comfortable without getting punched in the mouth.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't be saying.
No.
What did you think was going to happen?
Around and find out, buddy.
You call a person who has a partner that loves them, you call that person a whore to their face, unprovoked. You think the partner's going to be like, "Yeah, she is.
This is fine.
Yeah. You should see all the other guys she's with." It's like, what do you expect? I'm not mad at my husband. I'm mad at my brother the whole day. He was demeaning me, insulting me, belittling me. Don't know where this came from, as he's never talked to me like that or anyone that I know of. The bigger problem I have is that I have to choose either my husband or my parents. My parents are pissed and have given me an ultimatum. Either leave my husband and divorce him, or they cut me off completely.
What the fuck?
What are the parents in this situation? They didn't hear
Or like,
at this
I'd be
family
like, "Hey,
gathering?
mom, dad, hello. He fucking called me a whore."
And the parents are like, "But you are." It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, this is weird.
The parents not care when he was doing that? This is favorite child syndrome. My husband doesn't give a crap that they are mad. The only thing he is mad at is that he only got one punch in. I love my husband and I don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to lose my parents. They have supported me through a lot and have always been there for me. Except when your brother was calling you a whore. Where were they?
Yeah, you have to. Very simple advice. You go to your parents and you're like, "Are you ignoring why he punched my brother in the face?" Because the brother is being a dickhead.
It's a very simple math equation. You want me to cut off person who defends me when I get called a whore to then be with the people who don't defend me when I get called a whore. I wonder who wants me more.
Yeah, this is to force them to choose one of them.
They've always supported me. I know they're serious as this is the first time they've ever issued me with an ultimatum. They also threatened my husband with an assault charge, but he doesn't care and welcome them to it. I'm stuck between a decision that will change my life forever, and I'm panicking. I've received messages from friends and other family members that have given me support and condemned my husband, but they are leaning more towards my support side. They are leaning more on the support side. Edit to clarify, she's saying, "I'm choosing my husband. I've never questioned that, but I also don't want to lose my family. I'm very family oriented. My family to me is everything. I want to find a solution where I can keep both." Sometimes you can't force people to believe things when they're stupid. I think you tell your family, "Hey, like my husband supported me." You can do that too.
Yeah, this feels like a weird line to draw. I do think I'm personally of the belief that escalating a situation to violence should be an absolute last resort. So even if he did call her a whore, I would have, rather than punching him in the face and knocking his teeth out and knocking him out cold, I'd have probably come up to him and be like, "You don't speak to my wife that way. Mm-hmm. Keep my wife's name out of your damn mouth," and backhanded him, and then been filed charges and further remove my Hollywood successful career.
I think that sometimes people do need a reality check. And that reality check can come in a lot of ways, but if you've already spoken to someone about something that is incredibly bothersome to you, and they seem zero remorseful at all to just continue doing that thing, I think it is foolish to be surprised that you get a violent response. Yeah, I think you should expect it.
I think the parents' response is probably the I mean, they're
the
probably
parents
upset
are
that
the
their
parents
son
are like
got
the in this. Obviously, the brother is like insulting his sister for whatever reason.
For no reason.
It sounds like zero reason.
Why
I had a random day.
Like, calling an ex a whore is but calling your sister a whore is so weird.
Just so casually. "Hello, dear sister. Thank you for joining me at this lovely barbecue. We've been having a great time, you whore."
I don't get. She's married. She has a husband. It's not like she like went to a brothel and like had sex with 50 people.
She's literally married. Yeah.
Even then, she can do whatever the wants. Like, why would you call your sister a whore?
And why did the husband need to say to not do it anymore? You stopped and then continued again. Yeah. Like, he has a vendetta against his sister.
I think you're right to side with your husband here because he protected you.
I don't think he did anything wrong. I think violence is never the answer until it is.
I think violence can be the answer to prevent something horrible from happening, but you can usually respond to words with words.
I think that a single punch to the nose is okay when someone's being a douche.
Whatever. We give our relationship advice. Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just that whatever the case is, the husband has your best interest in mind, and the family, for whatever reason, doesn't give a fuck that their daughter is being bullied by their son. That's weird. I think that's weird. The thing that should be talked about the most.
Yeah. The parents should be questioning why the son said that.
Yeah, they should be shamed. Shamed and blamed. All right. I, 25F, just found out my boyfriend, 46M, has a daughter that is older than me. Ew.
You are 21 years younger than him, though. That's a pretty big age gap.
But ew.
Does she pass the rule? Yeah, she does.
Half your age plus 7, yeah.
46, 23, 30. Yeah. Wait.
Half your age is... Oh, wait, no, she doesn't. Half your age would be 23
How old
plus
is he?
7, 46. So the
Should
rule
be
is 30. She should be 30. She's younger than the
She's
rule.
25?
Yeah. And the daughter is 2 years older than her, which makes the daughter 27. So 30 would still be good.
I mean, technically...
I think this brings... Before we read into this, this brings questions up.
Yeah.
Why are you dating someone
20 years younger than you?
No, not even that.
Younger than your kid.
Younger than your daughter.
Yeah.
I think dating someone 20 years younger than you, it happens. We all know why. But you have a daughter.
Giggity.
You have a daughter.
Yeah.
That frames things differently.
Yeah.
I think if you are a single guy or girl and you were dating someone 20 years younger, we know why. We know why you're
You
doing
want that
it.
young...
Yeah.
Bussy,
We're
pussy,
not
whatever it is.
we're not weird prude people who don't know what's going on. We know why.
Yeah, you want some
And
young love.
I approve of it. But if you have a child who is...
Are you banned from dating that then?
I think you kind of should be.
Get into the story.
I think
wanna
you
hear
should
this.
be.
I want to hear this.
I've been dating my boyfriend for several months now, and I was aware that he had a child from a previous relationship, but knew virtually nothing about her. He seemed to be protective over her and particularly sensitive discussing anything related to his previous marriage, so I never pushed him on it.
Okay.
He also never outright mentioned his daughter's age or when he had her. I was under the impression that this had happened during his marriage, which started and ended in his mid to late 30s. However, recently I learned through a friend that his daughter is 2 years older than me.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure why I feel so shocked and disgusted because technically speaking, we're all adults here. I'm just weirded out that he never thought to mention this before. Moreover, without going into incredibly great detail of our sex life, he has a daddy kink.
Okay, now we've gotten weirder.
It's already been weird. She just said it out loud. I have it too.
Oh, yeah, baby. He found the daddy issues, spotted them, and reeled it in.
It's been great and fun to explore that with him as kind of a role play thing, but now knowing that he legitimately has a daughter my age is so unsettling to me. Not sure how to feel or what to do next because he never outright lied, but I feel like he withheld information that I definitely would have liked to know before doing what we did. I think this feels icky.
It does feel icky, but is it wrong?
I think it's icky and
Everyone's
therefore
a
weird.
consulting adult.
Consenting.
Brain dead.
Everyone's consenting adult. I don't know. I agree. I'm a logical person. On paper, I think if it's logical and safe and fun, then technically it should
You
be
both
fine.
share a kink. You're both cool with it. Good
If
for
in
it.
a vacuum, two people can get together, then this shouldn't be a problem. If in a vacuum, you're allowed to have kinks, then this shouldn't be a problem. The context that this guy has a daughter that is older than the girl he is dating, and he has a daddy-daughter kink that he does with this girl, to me, it just feels ick.
It does feel ick, but luckily he's not doing it to his daughter, to our knowledge.
Yeah,
And
but...
it's not the daughter's friend.
Okay, let me ask you this. If it just has to not do with the daughter or her friend, would it still be weird or not weird if his daddy-daughter kink involved the girl dressing up as his daughter?
As his daughter?
He's not doing anything to his daughter, but would that not still be weird?
Yes, that would be weirder because now he's imagining it as his daughter. But we didn't get presented.
He has a
that.
daddy kink. That's the same.
That's different.
That's the
just
same
having
shit.
A kink. That's having a kink with an unfortunate overlap. What if he found out that the kid he has is a son that's 2 years older than that daughter, than the girlfriend?
Well, because it's not a daddy-son kink, it's a daddy-daughter kink. It doesn't frame it the same way.
I don't think that necessarily means that he's into his daughter that way.
I don't think it does either. But it's bad optics.
Does
is what
he
it
need
is.
to present the fact that he has a kid that's this?
Does he
girl's
need
age?
to? No. But
it sounds like he's having fun with this girl.
It frames things weird. It begs the question: why did you not tell me? Why do you like this thing?
It's a pretty common kink, to be honest.
But not with someone who is the same or younger age than your daughter.
I think
that's the weird part.
I think that's an unfortunate.
We talked about this before.
coincidence.
We talked about this before. Is it okay for anyone of any age over 18 to date an 18-year-old? And what we decided was certain people, yes. Other people, it's icky. And what makes it even ickier
Is if it's friends.
If it's your child's friend or if they are younger than your child. This is the exact case we were talking
It's
about.
not the child's friend though.
But they are younger than his child. That's weird.
That sounds so arbitrary.
It does, but it's weird.
I mean, I think we have limited context and information.
Do we need more?
Yeah, I really hope the dad hasn't touched the daughter.
That's different. That's just bad. That's just bad thing.
That's horrible. But I'm saying if he did, and
we're
then
talking about icky, not bad.
I know, but ickiness can be shared with bad.
Yeah, they can. But like, I don't know.
At the moment, given the information that I have so far, while it's weird, as long as both people are legally okay with it, I mean, are legally fine, which they are, they're both consenting.
Yes,
that's fine.
There's a difference between legally bad / illegal and icky wrong. There's lots of things that are icky wrong red flags that aren't illegal. Like cheating isn't illegal.
Yeah.
But that's icky and wrong.
Yeah.
I personally think that having relations with someone who is the same age or younger.
I did not have relations with that woman.
Having relations with someone the same age or younger than your child, and especially having a kink that is related to it, is fishy.
What are they asking for? Advice on what to do here?
Yeah. They want to know. They don't know how to feel about the situation.
If you're enjoying the daddy, then ride the daddy.
I think it's weird. I think this is something that you should never, ever, 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 ever share with anybody else in your personal life at all. Keep that yourself if you want to continue.
I think if you're having fun, there's nothing wrong with it.
Here's a general rule.
This is on her to feel whether it's bad or not. If she
she doesn't know. She's conflicted.
Try it out a little more. If it still feels wrong,
she's hoping the internet is like, it's all good, girl.
I would say for her, feel it out a little longer. Experience el padre.
I think
and then take it from there.
Maybe this isn't a good analogy, but I imagine if there's information that you don't think you could tell anybody else in your life without getting like a weird look, then it might not be good. I think even if it's really like personal.
Dude, listen. No.
You could share.
No. I disagree with that. Okay, if you came to a friend and you're like, hey, I'm into getting in my mouth, I don't think anyone would be like, cool. I think they'd be like,
it's not about being cool.
They wouldn't be like, that's great.
No, they wouldn't think you're like a weirdo for it.
Yes, they would. Are you kidding me? Tell me one person you could tell, hey, I like when people shit in my mouth. I get off to it. Tell that to David. See what he says to you.
Yeah, but he'll roast anything.
You would get defiled to such a degree that you would want to end it all.
He would roast someone for eating milk and steak together. So like, your mouth is not like anywhere farther on the stream for him.
Tell me one person that would react normally to you telling them that you're okay. You like getting your shit in your mouth.
Genuinely, if someone came to me and said, I get off to getting shit in my mouth, I probably would tell them, that's cool, man. I don't want to know about that anymore. You
actually think you wouldn't judge it?
I would say I would block it out. I'd repress it and hope that I would hope that our friendship goes beyond that.
This is a nightmare. I'm gonna pretend what just happened did not happen.
If it's an acquaintance, I think I would stop talking to them completely.
That means you're judging the shit out of that.
Yes, but I judge that person less than having a doggy daddy daughter kink with a person younger than his daughter. I think that's weird.
I don't know, dude. If someone came to me and was like, "Hey, I my dog on the weekends," I'd be like, "That's
a crime."
Is it?
Yes.
What if they're taking it from their dog?
Still a crime.
Is it?
Yes. It's still a crime. I think crimes are completely different territory. I think there are things
because animals can't consent.
I assume.
What if you're getting by a significantly larger animal, like a rhino?
Listen, this is one of those things where it's like, if you know all the states' ages consent, it's like, yeah, technically it's not illegal to know that, but why do you know it, kind of thing. If I knew why it was illegal to dog, I think it'd be weirder for me to tell you why. I just know it's wrong.
It's wrong, sure.
I don't know the legal reason why.
A dog, as in you're inserting your appendage into the dog, is worse than dog fucking you.
I think on paper it's the same thing.
No, if someone told you, hey,
you're telling me you go to a courtroom and you'd be like, Your Honor, no, I didn't the dog, it me, and you're supposed to be like expecting the judge to be like, all right, you're good, dismissed.
I would give them less of a sentence. The dog is not getting hurt by being in you. No, okay, it's weird. Listen, it's weird. But
it's being hurt emotionally.
You're actually hurting the dog probably with a much larger penis than it's supposed to have.
I don't want to.
Maybe if you.
I don't want to go into this. I don't want to go into this. This is weird.
Are we gutting it here?
I think that is weird. I think having a kink with your daughter's age person is weird. I think it's something that you probably couldn't share with anybody in your life without them judging you.
I'm going to give it a soft pass. I think it's weird. Don't get me wrong. But as long as I'm going to assume in this story that the daughter has not been is free of any unfortunate circumstances that could be related to this, and that this is just a kink that the dad has, and this happens to be a circumstantial thing where he has a daughter that's the age of this girlfriend.
Here's the very minor difference, I would say. If you told me that you have a kink where the person that you're with in your mouth and you get off to it, that kink doesn't affect anybody else besides you and that partner. And I'd be like,
How
okay,
does this affect anyone else?
because if the daughter found out that this dad had a kink, I think it would eviscerate their relationship.
I honestly think if the daughter found out that the dad likes getting into his mouth,
No, that'd be
that
weird.
would
But
hurt
it's just
the relationship too.
No, it's different. Very, very different. If you're comparing getting in a mouth that's between two consenting people, and then having a daddy-daughter kink, and you're
Between two consenting people?
and having a daughter on top of that,
The daughter's unrelated to the situation. The
It's
kink
not.
is still between. You know what? What do you guys think?
I think it's weird.
It is weird. I didn't say it's not weird.
But I think it's weirder.
Is it wrong? Probably not.
It's not wrong illegally. Like, you're legally allowed to. You're not gonna get thrown in jail for being a peeping dad. But I think that you shouldn't be doing
What
it.
do you think? Please make sure to check out the full episode on Patreon a week in advance. Okay? And tell us what you think. Share some weird stories with us. We like seeing it. We like seeing your support in the comments too. You guys seem to like this podcast. Help it blow up. Like, subscribe, and suck the fucking notification bell. It's penis shaped.
You didn't want to say like button?
I already said like and subscribe.
Oh.
I didn't want to tell them to suck it again.
Let us know your relationship advice for any of these situations, or tell us how wrong we are. We love that. We always love being told how wrong we are.
For those of you that like watching this podcast at work, bottom. Let's go.
I don't know if anyone does that.
A lot of people do. My girlfriend does.
She works from home.
I literally read a comment on Patreon today saying, this podcast gets me through my work. Thank you for posting it. Let's go.
All right.